Anchor at WKBT in La Crosse, Wisconsin, has spent her career reporting the news, but in an odd twist this week, she became it.
I want to take a moment to address a situation that has become a talking point in this community over the past week, and especially on Facebook, that centers around me.
After receiving a viewer email from a local man who criticized her weight.
It reads as follows. Surely you don't consider yourself a suitable example for this community's young people, girls in particular. Obesity is one of the worst choices a person can make and one of the most dangerous habits to maintain. I leave you this note hoping that you'll reconsider your responsibility as a local public personality to present and promote a healthy lifestyle.
Good job. That feels very good.
Livingston tried to laugh off the hurtful comments, but her husband, also an anchor at the station, could not. He posted the email on Facebook, and an overwhelming amount of support poured in.
Hundreds and hundreds of people have taken the time out of their day to not only lift my spirits, but take a stand that attacks like this are not okay.
In the end, it was Livingston who got the final word.
The truth is, I am overweight. You could call me fat, and yes, even obese on a doctor's chart. But to the person who wrote me that letter, do you think I don't know that? That your cruel words are pointing out something that I don't see? You don't know me. You are not a friend of mine. You are not a part of my family, and you have admitted that you don't watch this show. So you know nothing about me but what you see on the outside. And I am much more than a number on a scale.
Oh, you blowing a kiss?
Livingston, herself a mother of 3 daughters, spoke directly to the children in her audience, saying no one should ever let themselves feel victimized by others.
Listen to me right now. Do not let your self-worth be defined by bullies. Learn from my experience that the cruel words of one are nothing compared to the shouts of many.
And joining us now live is Jennifer Livingston, along with her husband, Mike Thompson. Good morning. Welcome to you both. And Jennifer, I've got to ask you, we all get emails from viewers that are sometimes not very nice. Why did you go public with this particular one?
This is one of the worst that I've gotten, and usually it's about a story which we encourage people to critique us and about our stories, and sometimes it's the occasional, your hair looked this way, your jacket was not, you know, where you're not wearing your jacket well. But this was an attack. This was a personal attack. Calling me obese is one thing. Calling me a bad role model to our community that I've worked at for 15 years, and especially young girls when I have 3 girls, was a low blow, and I thought it was uncalled for, and I wanted to call him out on it.
Do you think this man who wrote this was trying to be hurtful? Do you think this was thoughtlessness or cruelty or both?
I think in his mind, he views himself as being helpful, which is what I think a little bit of the problem is. He doesn't see that the way that he approached it was clearly hurtful to me. He's trying to shame me into losing weight. That's not being helpful, that's being a bully.
Mike, you posted this on your Facebook page because you, quote, it made you sick, you said when you read this. You had a real reaction to it.
I did. You know, like you said, we get emails here in the media all the time, but I really feel like this one crossed a line out there. And what really angered me, more so than his attack on her not being a role model for our community, is that he doesn't know Jennifer. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know our family. He doesn't know that Jennifer has ran triathlons. He doesn't know that she ran in a race last weekend, a 5K race. She works out 2 or 3 times a week. She's gonna run in a race this weekend. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that she has a condition, a thyroid condition, that makes it harder for her to lose weight. He doesn't know any of that. He just decided to attack her for no reason.
He doesn't know, in fact, that she's been trying very hard to lose the weight that she says she fully well knows that she has, as you just put out, Jennifer. I'm curious, both of you, to react to the fact, you know, the internet has made some amazing advances in our lives, but has it also made it easier in some ways to be a bully? You can insult somebody without the discomfort of having to say it to them face to face.
Well, that's exactly it. You would never say the majority of things that you see on the internet to someone's face, and that's what it's about. Just because you're not saying it to their face, you have this anonymity, doesn't make it okay to say. And we need to make sure that we're teaching our children that, especially in what is happening in our schools today.
The general discourse of the internet conversation as a whole. I was also struck by something else, Jennifer, that you said to your bully, quote, if you were at home talking about the fat news lady in front of the kids, guess what? Your children are probably going to go to school and call someone fat. You really think that discussions like this, comments like this, can lead to bullying in schools of kids?
I absolutely think that. I do believe that for the majority of kids out there, this behavior is learned. It's coming from somewhere else. And we all, as adults, need to take the time to have the discussion with our children about what's important, about whether kindness is the way that we want to be, or do we want to be critical of the way someone looks.
And in 10 seconds, what did you say to your 3 very young daughters about this whole issue?
Our 10-year-olds, we basically told her that this might be something she has to deal with in the future. She needs to be strong, and hopefully, you know, she can follow my example and now the example of people all over the world.
Because she is a good role model.
Oh, that's great. Jennifer, Mike, thank you so much for being with us. Be your best self is the message here, and be kind to others. Thanks so much for being here with us this morning.
Bullying is caused by insecurity. Bullying is caused by insecurity. And insecurity isn't a weight. Insecurity comes from all kinds of different things. And in this case, we have a very insecure man who used his writing talent, I guess, for the wrong thing, against a beautiful woman, I might add. I just have to say, I mean, if you're going to pick on somebody who's obese, I mean, you pick her? Really? Because, I mean, like her husband said, she runs triathlons, she stays healthy. That's admirable. Isn't that the kind of stuff that, you know, Michelle Obama's really kind of touting? And yet I would bet a body part that this guy is a liberal. You can just tell by the self-righteous presumption. I mean, like she said, like she pointed out, he doesn't know her. He knows nothing about her. He doesn't even watch the show. And he had to weigh in. No, sorry for the pun. On her obesity and her poor example. There are plenty better examples of obesity that you could pick on than her, but not that I think it's right to put yourself on some pedestal and talk down to somebody for being overweight. Now I do confess that, yeah, I think that being overweight is unhealthy. Normally. Now, she may be overweight, but I mean, you know, they were showing her in different settings and everything. She looked all right. I mean, she actually, I mean, she's a very attractive woman. Let's face it. She looks, even though she's bigger, she's not sloppy fat or anything, but she wears her weight very well, and I think that she's very attractive. I think anyone who wears their weight like her, and just, you know, she's obviously not stuffing her face full of ho-hos every, you know, and her exercise doesn't consist of just merely getting up to the fridge. I mean, we're talking about a woman that runs triathlons, and she's running a 5K race this weekend. Are you kidding me? You're going to pick on this woman? But this guy, obviously, you know, he had to use his everything he's gleaned from academia, because you can just tell he's a liberal elitist. Okay, yes, I am. I think it's easy to see, even if you say, oh, well, you're judging him now. No, because I'm not, because I'm going by what he said. I'm judging what he said. I'm not judging a man I don't know. I'm judging what he said. Though that was liberal commentary at its finest. In that email, that was straight out of Michelle Obama's book, I'm sorry, about how, you know, they know better than the rest of us, and And we should take, he even had the audacity to say in his follow-up email, oh, and by the way, I need to point out the difference. I was watching the Today Show's take on this same story moments earlier, and I flipped over to Good Morning America. On the Today Show, as we know, the spin is a little bit more liberal, and Savannah Guthrie was like, well, yeah, she was far more sympathetic to the emailer than she was this woman reporter here. And she said, well, do you think he just was concerned about you? I mean, her tone was much different than Elizabeth Vargas's tone there. Elizabeth Vargas may have, I don't know where she stands on the whole thing for sure. She may have just been playing nice, but at least she was playing nice, and at least she was somewhat sympathetic with this woman, and especially she wasn't afraid to call it what it was, which was bullying. I mean, this guy just picked on her. But I have to say, I watch a lot of news, and I see a lot of beautiful female news anchors, and I will say that I do think that beautiful news anchors are a good role model. Well, I shouldn't name names, but we have some. I mean, I live in the Boston area, and we have very beautiful female news anchors around here, like probably the most beautiful in the country, and some of them are very svelte, very fit, and look very good. And I have to say, I mean, I think that is a positive role model for girls because they have a healthy image. But this woman that I just saw has a healthy image, whether she's big or not. She's exercising. I think that's great because she's showing people, yeah, I may be big, but not from lack of trying. Not because I sit on my ass all the time. She had a thyroid condition. Now, I've known people with thyroid conditions, and you cannot help but, not everybody, but it affects people in different ways, but the most common thing when you have a thyroid condition is to gain weight. I knew somebody who personally, and I won't reveal how she was related to me, but she went from a size 1 to about a size, I think she went up to at least a 16. I think she went higher than that, but a size 1. Okay, we're talking somebody who was tiny. And she had a sweet little gymnast body, and she developed a thyroid condition, and she blew up. And unfortunately, this person of whom I'm speaking, when she found out, basically the doctor told her that she was going to gain weight, and she cried and said, "Oh no, I'm going to get fat." And when she did gain the weight, I found out that most of the security in herself was in that svelte body of hers, because when she gained the weight, she was not the same person. And that's really unfortunate. But that comes from the fact that automatically, and there's such hypocrisy too, because, the media presents such different things. Don't bully, but we got Michelle Obama's, you can't be fat, but it's not right to call people out on their weight, but it's unhealthy to be fat. But there's so many mixed messages, it's just crazy. So people, by and large, people think that being fat, bad, being thin, good, no matter what, no matter how many, campaigns soap companies make for self-esteem and all this. And I also have to point out that, like I was saying before, insecurity is something that is found in all kinds of different people. Sometimes fat people are insecure by the fact that they are fat, and they turn out to be the bullies. In fact, sometimes fat people position themselves in positions of authority so that they can lord over people. And they use that position of authority as an aegis to protect their to sort of insulate their insecurities and their feelings, and they use that authority to take out their insecurities on objects of their disdain, and their disdain is often misguided. It's like, you know, you may have an overweight person who is in a position of authority that decides that they're going to get even by picking on somebody who is maybe svelte, maybe, you know, thinner, whatever, somebody that they may be jealous of, and they become the bully. So we make the mistake, we make a huge mistake if we think that fat people are the only ones who are bullied, because, like I said, bullying comes from insecurity, period. Thin, fat, whatever it is, whatever makes a person insecure, and all types of different things make people insecure. This woman, wow, she just shines, and I think she's a great role model, because she had a very genuine smile. It wasn't manufactured. She wasn't going to be like, I'm going to be, just because I'm overweight, I'm going to be pretty by smiling. She had a light inside that came out on her face, and she's an attractive lady and a classy lady, and I think she handled herself very well, and I like what she said, and I think there's just too much to be learned here from this incident, you know, and I hope that, I'm sure that this will be all over YouTube today. I'm sure that this will be talked about, you know, maybe weeks to come. This will probably be all over the talk shows, but you know, we have to realize that everything is not so black and white. Like, if I don't get me wrong about like what I said about Michelle Obama and stuff, and I think it is good to promote a healthy lifestyle. Okay, I consider myself a healthy guy. I stay away from preservatives. I avoid high fructose corn syrup like the plague. If I drink soda, can't have high fructose corn syrup in it. I stay away from fatty foods. I keep them to a minimum, or if I do, you know, indulge in fatty foods, it's extra time on the treadmill for me. I drink a lot of fruit juices, like acai juice. I mean, I make sure I get plenty of protein. I do cardio, make sure that I get plenty of cardio in, and you know, burn fat, because I mean, fat isn't good for you. Like, excess fat isn't good for you. And that woman, even though she doesn't have great big fat rolls on her, you know, she exercises a lot, and that's healthy. And that, I think she's doing her best. And for that guy who, oh yeah, I keep sidetracking. On the Today Show, he had a follow-up email, which he dug his heels in and had the audacity to say, well, if she wants any advice, I would gladly give it to her. Buddy, I think you can keep your advice, because I think she's doing as good as she could possibly do. I would love to see this guy run next to her in one of these races. I wonder, you know, I just wonder what he looks like. I would love to see a picture of him. You know, perhaps maybe he is healthy and fit himself, but perhaps not. I think that he owes it to the public after that, after bullying that woman, basically, to tell us something about him. I mean, really, if you're going to make an unsolicited attack like that, let's see what you got, buddy. Let's have a road race with her, you know? Have a road race. Do it for charity. Everybody loves to have these walks and races for charity. Why don't you race against this woman for charity or something? Or can you? You know, I'd love to see it. But anyways, the bottom line, this is one of those impromptu videos where I have no preparation, but the bottom line, the point I want to get across is that insecurity makes people into bullies, and it's ugly. Insecurity is a lot uglier than somebody who's overweight. And that guy who made an unsolicited attack against a very attractive yes, larger, but very attractive, larger woman, is obviously insecure. He wears it in his words. And if anybody should be ashamed, it is him.